power of the suggestion system. The most effective way of generally levelling up the work process is to educate staff using real objects in the workplace. If the supervisor can give instructions face-to-face, then the advice will become active knowledge of how to consider ideas and improvements. The information gained will also be more detailed and closer to the interests of the worker involved. Hands-on instruction is far more impressive and effective than 100 hours of classroom lectures. Instructions concerning the making of suggestions and the evaluation of improvements are a perfect field in which to create this kind of real education. Such instruction for improvements and evaluation is more than simply giving marks for a particular person's suggestion. Rather, it is a way of putting life into the ideas themselves and polishing them to a refined level. In this volume, we will demonstrate the way in which group leaders can instruct their staff on the technique of making suggestions. We will take the experience of one group leader, Mr. Wakayama, as an example.
Mr. Wakayama, as usual, your group's presenting lots of suggestions.
Thanks. But recently your group's coming up with a lot too.
Yes, thanks to you. By the way, how is Ito getting on since he was transferred to your section?
Oh, he's working very well. I've just been looking at his suggestions. Have a look. This one's not bad. But with just a bit more effort, it could be a really good suggestion.
Yes, you're right. Well, anyway, I hope you'll look after him well. The reason I wanted him to transfer after 3 years was to develop his talents.
Yes, I know. Look, leave it to me. Tomorrow I'll have a look at this suggestion together with him. Well, everybody, as usual, do your best.
Right!
Ah, Ito.
Yes. What is it?
About the suggestion you made the other day for avoiding mistakes in mixing, I have a few questions to ask you, so could you come and see me later?
As I thought, it wasn't very good.
No, I'm not saying that. You must have more confidence, Ito.
Well, I thought I did my best last month. But all I got was a small reward for effort. I've been thinking that maybe that's all I'll ever get.
No, your suggestion brought up a very important point. But your idea for improvement, just putting marks on the trolley, sounds weak. If you think a bit more, it could be much better. Anyway, let's think about it together later.
Right. Thank you very much.
Well, you've come up with lots of suggestions, and you're working hard. But there is a proper technique for thinking about suggestions and writing them up. I think, really, you must study this more. For example, this latest suggestion of yours here. Why don't you read it out loud?
Right. During the mixing process, the 5 mixing materials, A, B, C, D, and E, are in different bags on the trolleys. But because the trolleys are all the same shape, it's difficult to know which bag A, B, C, D, or E is on which trolley, and we often make mistakes. So, I suggest we paint big letters on each trolley.
What I think is, you're certainly on the right track. I'm wondering why we've missed this important problem up to now. So, if we think about this more carefully, it will become a much better suggestion.
But what do you think I should do?
Well, Anyway, let's go and take a look.
Okay.
If something a little strange appears during the consideration of suggestions, it is always best to talk to the person involved at once and also confirm the situation at the actual workplace. If you simply evaluate the suggestion as being incomplete, then the chance of effecting the improvement may be lost forever, and also the person who made the suggestion may lose the chance of improving his suggestion technique. In such cases, it is important to teach ways of improvement while confirming the workplace situation and considering concrete examples of suggestions.
If I explain properly, starting with the basics, I'm sure that when you joined the company, you learned about the 6 stages in the implementation of improvements. Identification, research, consideration, consolidation, implementation, and follow-up. Those are the 6 stages. If you want to present a proper suggestion, you should think and proceed on the basis of those 6 stages. So, if we look at your suggestion according to this system, then we will get something like this. First, why you thought about this suggestion is because you almost made a mistake with the bags, didn't you? You probably thought, that's strange. Can't it be changed? This is called the first or identification stage. It was very good that you noticed the problem. If you had put the wrong materials into the machine, all the products would have been useless and it would have been a big loss for the company. So the problem you identified is an important one.
Yes.
It is important not only to give compliments on good parts of the suggestion like this, but also to try and grasp all the thinking behind the suggestion. Also, at this stage, if the suggestion is off the point or unclear, let your staff think in terms of the company slogans and needs of the workplace.
Next, you wondered why you almost made a mistake. Because all the trolleys are the same shape, you didn't notice the bags were not on the same trolleys as before. That was the problem, right? So, the step to find out what the actual conditions are and to make the problems clear is called research. The second step you thought about was quite right.
Yes.
Generally speaking, at the research stage, it is a good idea to repeat the question why 5 times in order to grasp the real reason.
At the third, or consideration stage, you thought about an idea to avoid confusion with the trolleys. Your idea was to write the same letter on both the bags and the trolley, right? In other words, this trolley is for material A and that trolley is for material B. In that way, the trolleys would be differentiated according to the materials, and by just looking at the trolley, you'd know which material it was for. But in that sense, using letters is not the only possible way. So please think of some other ideas.
Well, what about temporarily identifying the materials by color and painting the trolleys the same color as well?
What else?
What about adding sides to the trolley according to the shape of the bags so that they fit exactly?
And another possibility is that at the mixing place, you could also mark the floor to show where to park each trolley, couldn't you?
I see. Yes, you could.
Having found the problem, you should encourage the person to solve the problem by presenting as many ideas as possible from various angles. A wide range of ideas will determine the quality of the suggestion.
fourth step is consolidation, to focus the suggestion clearly based on the various ideas you've come up with. There's nothing wrong with your idea of writing letters on the trolleys. But if you add colour as well, it will make everything clearer.
I see.
But the idea of adding sides to the trolley may be inefficient when you're loading or unloading, so let's forget that. On the other hand, I think marking the place to park the trolleys is essential to avoid double or triple mistakes. When you get to the consolidation stage, your ideas become concrete. And before presenting a suggestion, you must at least have everything clear up to this point.
At the consolidation stage, the point is to make sure the person understands the size of the effect of the improvement, and also the consideration be given to whether new problems will be created. Only then can you choose which plan will be best.
The next step is to put the suggestion into practice. Those jobs, like marking and painting the trolleys and deciding where to park them, can be done easily by our team. So if you ask for everybody's cooperation and put it into practice, then when you make the suggestion, it will be evaluated higher.
I see.
When you put the improvement into practice, it is of course necessary to have the approval of the boss. By putting an idea into practice, you cannot always be sure of the exact effect or when and what will happen, and it could disturb the work procedure of other groups. It is a good idea to explain this carefully.
After implementation, you must make sure that no further mistakes are happening. This is the sixth or follow-up stage. You can clearly see many things when you put an idea into practice. For example, if you mark only the top of the trolley, the mark may be hidden by the bags, so perhaps the letter should be painted on the sides of the trolley as well. This adding of new improvements is the follow-up stage.
If at all possible, let your staff present a suggestion which has already been put into practice. Then the person involved will think it's his own suggestion and will be able to clarify his thinking. It would also suggest he has gone through the PDCA cycle, the established formula for solving problems. It will also improve his general control ability. At this stage, if the suggestion is not successful, the person involved will try even harder to aim at better suggestion quality.
Now, Ito, you need a special technique for writing up suggestions.
Yes.
Remember, my bosses will only understand your suggestion from what they see on the paper. They're not visiting the workplace to check. So, their level of understanding will depend on how you present the suggestion. Even if they want to understand favourably, if they can't really follow the suggestion, they'll evaluate it poorly. Training in writing suggestions will anyway improve your general workability. By the way, the suggestion you wrote, I can understand the contents very well, but you wrote it like a letter, so it's not clear at first glance where the problem is written or where the ideas for improvement are.
When you instruct how to write up suggestions, you should at least teach these three main points. 1. Classify into categories, such as present situation, problem points, and improvement points. 2. Don't write like a letter, but clearly itemize. 3. Write in detail, including data. Following these guidelines, let's now rewrite Mr. Ito's suggestion. Present situation. During the mixing process, 5 types of material bags, A, B, C, D and E, are individually loaded onto different trolleys. The materials are measured out in fixed quantities and then put into an agitating hopper. All the trolleys are exactly the same shape, so it is difficult to identify which materials are on which trolley. There is also the possibility of making a mistake by choosing the wrong bag when a new bag is loaded on a trolley. Problem points. 1. A lot of useless products could be produced if nobody noticed a mistake. 2. Valuable time and effort is wasted if a mistake is noticed and the bags have to be changed. Points of improvement. When it has been decided which bag goes on which trolley, they should be marked as follows. 1. Paint a big letter on both the top and the sides of each trolley. 2. A colour should be fixed for each type of material, and this colour should be painted on the sides of the trolley. The letter should be in the same colour, e.g. A, white, B, yellow, C, green, D, blue, E, pink. 3. A place should be fixed for parking each trolley at the mixing site. The floor should be marked according to the colour scheme above. Effects. 1. The danger of producing inferior products because of mixing mistakes will be removed. 2. There will be no waste of time or effort exchanging bags, and general work efficiency will be increased. Estimated savings, 5 minutes per time, times 12 times per day, times 22 days, equals 1,320 minutes per month. Next, there are 3 instruction points with regard to illustrating suggestions. First, 3-dimensional figures should be used. By doing this, it is easier to imagine the shape being described, and the contents of the suggestion will be better understood. Second, if necessary, add enlargement details with arrows to indicate the point enlarged. This will make it easier to understand points of most emphasis. Thirdly, there should be comparison drawing showing the situation before and after the improvement. The important point is to illustrate the suggestion clearly so that anyone can understand the ideas.
To tell the truth, if you are only making the suggestion to me, then you don't have to write everything down. You can explain verbally. However, if you write out a suggestion, your ideas can be passed on to my bosses and everyone in the workplace. Also, because all the suggestions are written down, we may be able to get a number of useful hints from looking at the suggestions of other groups. So, the writing of suggestions is not just for our workplace only, but for the growth of ideas throughout the company.
Yes, I understand.
It is vital to teach that proper technique is required for writing suggestions in order to improve the value of the ideas.
Well, I think the next step is, before we present this suggestion, why don't we put the improvement into practice? How about that?
Right.
So, I'll tell Sato and Yamada about this. You can explain the intentions, decide on the position for the trolleys, and have them help you with the painting.
Thank you so much for all your help.
Do your best.
Right.
Right, I'd like to give out this month's awards. Toda,
Yes. Thank you very much.
Seno,
Yes.
thanks. Ishigami,
Yes.
thanks for your many suggestions again this month. Ito,
Yes.
you up.
Thank you very much.
Shimizu!
Yes?
You've worked very well this month.
Thank you.
Wow!
Please keep it up.
Yes,
It's
I
more
will.
than I expected.
Everybody, I'm hoping for more wonderful suggestions next month as well. Try hard to produce more and more. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ito,
Yes?
in your case, you shouldn't immediately suggest ideas you come up with. Check them carefully to ensure their effectiveness and then present the suggestion. Also, remember to thank those who helped you, will you?
Yes. I did it! Look at this!
That's great.
It's thanks to you all. And I feel now as if I understand the suggestions procedure.
It was worth it, eh?
Yes.
Well done.
Thanks.
If you look carefully at everyone's suggestions and check the contents, you can understand the individual's way of thinking and attitude to work. It is very important that group leaders, as seniors in terms of work experience, should fully use this opportunity to advise their staff and teach them how to recognize problems and how to bring about big improvements in the workplace. Here are the main points required when instructing about suggestions. 1. If you don't understand suggestions clearly, meet the person involved to check the meaning and also visit the workplace and the real problem situation before evaluating the suggestion. 2. Even if an idea does not seem too good at first glance, you should try to understand fully the intention of the suggestion maker and then try to inject life into the idea. 3. If you think that a good suggestion could be produced if the idea is worked on further, give hints for improvement and ask them to present the suggestion again. 4. Compliment good points and inform those involved that you are hoping for better suggestions. Also, for the future, write advice in the comments section concerning things they should look out for, the kind of ways in which they should proceed with improvements, the kind of future study that is required, and so on. 5. When a suggestion is turned down, you should explain in detail why to make your staff understand, and also give words of encouragement to help them challenge the next problem. All companies are keen both to improve the quality of suggestions and increase the enthusiasm for the suggestion system in general. As we have seen, the best way to achieve these aims is for group leaders to use OJT to accomplish the contents of each suggestion little by little, and by constant repetition to improve the suggestion ability of all the staff involved. This is a valuable education process for everyone, as well as serving to improve communication between the staff and their bosses. And suggestion making is a valuable exercise for those who rarely have the chance to consolidate their ideas and put them in writing. Instruction in the technique of suggestion making is an ideal way to activate the workplace and also to train staff to develop their talents using the human touch.